Hey everyone, it's Thomas Wooden Railway again, and I'm back with a highly coveted Thomas Wooden Railway custom model that a lot of people have been asking for a very long time. You saw him in my collection video, you saw him in the live stream, and now I'm here to present to you Rex the miniature engine in wooden railway form made by DomelessEngine. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to the YouTube user DomelessEngine, who was the one who created this model. I've included a link to his channel in both the description and the comments below, so be sure to check that out. I've gotten so many questions on my channel over the past couple of years. Why are there wooden railway versions of Mike and Bert but not Rex? And to be honest, I don't have a good answer for that. But I talked to DomelessEngine about it, and I asked him, and I said, would you be willing to take on this enormous challenge of trying to create a character that has never had a wooden railway model before? And he was all for it. So this wooden railway version of Rex is a combination of a few things. It has that same body style that you see Mike and Bert have in the background, but it has Rex's face. However, since it hasn't been a previous wooden railway Rex, I had to go and find another form of merchandise that Rex was produced in and take the face off of that. Well, I personally didn't do it. That was DomelessEngine. But I had to go out and find something that would work, and lo and behold, we have a wooden railway Rex here. So just a brief history lesson. For those who don't know, Mike, Bert, and Rex are the three original small railway engines that appeared in the Railway series book titled Small Railway Engines. And that's really all that they were for a long time. They were the small engines that only appeared in the books up until the movie Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, which was released in 2015. And it was a glorious sight when these three small engines puffed onto the big screen, and it was really awesome to say the least. However, for some reason, Mike and Bert got wooden railway releases, but Rex didn't. And like I said earlier, I don't really know why that is, but I want to include all three of them in my series and in future videos because they're definitely a trio, and I don't think they should be split up. So let's take a closer look at Rex here, and I'll kind of explain, what he's made out of and how this custom model was made possible. So, like I talked about with the LBSC Thomas in the previous video, I had very little to do with the actual building of this custom, but I basically got DomelessEngine all of the parts and pieces that he needed. So Rex was constructed out of the same type of body that you see Mike and Bert have. He doesn't have the correct number of wheels, but this, I'd say, smaller design of Rex and Mike and Bert kind of implies that, they're smaller railway engines and that they're a different gauge compared to Thomas and his friends and even Scarlowi and the narrow gauge engines. So, as you can see by the bottom here, this used to be a Mike model, and it's kind of funny. I know I showed this with the LBSC Thomas, but there's this unpainted area back here, and Rex is looking very festive with the green and red colors underneath. So this used to be a Mike model. Obviously, at one point there was a Mike face here, but that's been taken off and replaced with a Rex face. So a lot of the details, in fact all of the details I should say, were done by DomelessEngine. You can see there are some painted details. I wouldn't be surprised if he used some permanent marker for a couple of things. The very interesting note here is Rex's nameplate. I thought that was very important that we had to include. And the way this was done, it's actually very clever. You can see if I move Rex back and forth over the light there, you can see it's a bit reflective. And what DomelessEngine actually did is, I believe he either put some double-sided tape or some glue. He glued the nameplates on both sides, and then he put a piece of tape over it like this. And this will make sure, or this makes sure that the nameplate here stays in place. It doesn't move around, and really you won't notice that it's taped there unless you move it back and forth over a bright light like this. So these nameplates are actually connected on the top here. This piece of tape rolls over like this, and it keeps the nameplate from moving around. So if DomelessEngine watches this video, he may be able to comment and kind of explain this process more in detail. But basically what I presume he did is he basically painted this Mike model, which was formerly red. He painted it green, and then he came in and got some of the finer details, such as the handrail and the stripes and even this cab detailing here. So Rex's face is a very interesting story. The one range of merchandise that got all three engines for some reason was the take and play range. And so that is Rex's only form of licensed merchandise to date. So I was really kind of limited with what we could do when it came to getting Rex his correct face. And I thought about looking through, different wooden railway models from the past and trying to find something that looked like it. But then DomelessEngine and I were talking, and we were like, you know what? The take and play Rex face may just work. And so I'm going to roll Rex back here and introduce a take and play Rex that is still new in the box. Sorry for the close-up look, but there is take and play Rex's face. That is basically what Rex's face came from. DomelessEngine did all of that work. He somehow cut it off, but I just thought I would show that off just so you can see where that face came from. Like I said, I looked at possibly using, a wooden railway face from an engine, but we never really even got that far. We figured that the best representation of Rex would be to use that take and play face, because honestly, the take and play face legitimately looks like Rex. It would be kind of a crime not to use that face. The only slight problem, though, is that if you look around his smoke box here, Rex's face is just a little bit tinier than the smoke box itself. On the take and play model, I'm looking at it off screen here, the take and play model, the face is actually, just as big as the smoke box on that model, but since these wooden railway versions are bigger, Rex's face appears smaller by comparison. And honestly, that doesn't really bother me. If you actually take a look at a picture of CGI Rex, you'll notice that there is a slight gap between the face and the smoke box there. So technically, this version of Rex is accurate to the is accurate to the TV series, and the versions of Bert and Mike in the background with that bigger face are technically incorrect, but let's not get caught up in technicalities. So really, I think Rex's face looks really nice, and you'd only ever notice that it's different, or that it's smaller compared to Mike and Bert is when they are next to each other. You'll see that it's just a tiny bit smaller, but that was a small price to pay for getting able to use a legitimate Rex face. So the one part of the model I have not showed off yet is the tender here. This tender is from Mike as well. You can see Mike's tender on the bottom there. The detailing on this was done by hand by DomelessEngine. You can see he used paint to do the red striping, but he actually printed out a decal there that says Arsdale, and he did the same on the reverse side there. And then he did something super clever with the wheels. You'll notice that the wheels are super shiny, like you would see on a licensed Thomas Wooden Railway toy. If I remember correctly, DomelessEngine said he used clear nail polish to kind of give it this shiny effect. And I wouldn't be surprised if it actually helps protect the wheels. I talked about in the previous video, the LBSC Thomas, the paint on the wheels was starting to come off a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that clear nail polish actually helps keep the paint on the wheels in that situation. So I believe I've talked about everything. I will say there is one more thing I want to mention. You might see up near the lamp here, there's a bit of, it looks like either white or kind of gray paint. And that's actually not a mistake. I sent DomelessEngine a mic model from eBay. It was new in box. It was just one of those generic stock pictures. I couldn't really see what it looked like anyway. But when it arrived to DomelessEngine, he let me know that apparently, while on the original mic model, there were some painting issues that went along here. So that white gray paint you see at the top, that wasn't done while the face was being removed or anything like that. That was actually on the original mic model, and you probably couldn't see too much of it because Mike's face, remember, on his wooden railway version is bigger than this. So I might come in one day with a black Sharpie or some black paint and try to touch it up a bit, but honestly, I'm not too concerned about that. I thought I would just mention it because I know some people will comment on it. Overall, I want to thank DomelessEngine so much for producing this awesome Rex custom. You can bet your bottom dollar he will be appearing in my series because it is just an excellent model, and I can't thank him enough. I don't believe there's anything else I want to talk about with this model. I just know a lot of people on my videos have been asking, where's Rex? And finally, I'll be able to say, guess what? Here's Rex. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next custom model video.